Galaxy 2. To give our thoughts on the first film is great. Definitely one of the best Marvel films. You could argue,
favorite Marvel movie.
It's mostly because it has the most heart out of any Marvel film. The characters are all lovable, from Star-Lord to Rocket to Groot to Drax to Gamora. All of them are great. And now we have this film. So going into this film, I kind of knew going in it's not going to be as good as the first. I was kind of thinking it was going to be on the same line as, say, Avengers 2, where it's a fun sequel, just not as good as the first. But I will say, I like this film a lot more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, just with all the reviews coming in, they were all kind of like really average. Like I think I had like a 66 on Metacritic. It was just getting like really average reviews, so it really kind of lowered my expectations. I didn't think I'd get a movie I really ended up enjoying as much as I did, even though it's not a great movie, or it's like it's kind of average in the way its flaws are, but it's really fun and really funny and really kind of entertaining and like heartfelt.
Yeah, it's got her.
It's a good movie. So basically, it's just another adventure with the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know who they all are. You know who all plays them. They're all great in their roles. Super funny. And this time they introduce Kurt Russell as Chris Pratt's dad as Ego. Who are we going into?
Yeah, let's get take it away.
Spoilers. Ego is the villain in the movie, basically.
Yeah. He's a dick.
He's a dick. Yeah, he's a bad guy. So, this is the movie that probably gave more emphasis to the villain than most of the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm. Finally, a Marvel film where like the villain actually gets some legitimate screen time. It isn't just some boring punching bag for the heroes to beat up.
Yeah, I think I like in this movie how it definitely felt like James Gunn at least was able to, like, even that opening shot of the car coming in, and it just kind of goes from this huge wide frame to coming. It just felt like it was shot in its own way, not necessarily like the stereotype Marvel kind of bland aesthetic or the bland detailing. It had, and it also had James Gunn's like tone throughout the movie. It didn't just feel like it had like Marvel jokes. It felt like it had Guardians of the Galaxy jokes, like slightly weirder, slightly quirkier, which really helped make this kind of really generic plot and kind of generic plot beats kind of feel a whole lot more fun because the jokes were hilarious. There's one joke. Well, not just what. There's so many jokes.
Maybe even like the opening scene. The opening scene is like awesome. Mr. Blue Sky just playing, Groot's just dancing around while everyone's in a fight. Like there's one part where like they're shooting and he just like Baby Groot's waving at Gamora's like, oh hi, and I gotta start like shooting again. He's just playing around.
Really cutesy and funny. If you're kind of just like they're literally only using this guy to be cute, which they are. If you don't really like that, you're not gonna like Baby Groot, but if you do, if you think he's cute, like everybody does, then you're gonna like him in the movie. You're gonna think he's funny. Everyone's funny, but I think Drax is ultimately the funniest guy. He has all the best funny lines. He has all like, he says so many. Man's a savage.
Yeah, I think they knew. I think they knew going in.
My nipples.
Okay. I think they knew going in that like since he's just like his character, like the whole point of his character, he's sort of one notice, or he has his one plot point about his parents. He has one thing. So like rather than like they couldn't really develop his character all that much more. So instead they just gave him all the best one-liners. Like his nipples are sensitive, or like or he just rips on that one girl. He's just like, you're disgusting. Don't worry. You're beautiful.
I like how I really did like the way that this movie kind of kept up its fun, even though it didn't. I don't think it reached it didn't really incorporate. A couple times it incorporated the music pretty well with the father and son scene with the end of the movie where Chris Pratt where Star-Lord fights after his dad. Those two uses of music were really good, but a lot of the times throughout the movie it was just kind of fun backdrop noise. It was kind of fun thing to remind you that it was.
It wasn't as memorable as the music in the first one, which had its own identity and played a part. And actually played a part in the story. Used as essentially a memory for Pierre to hold on because, his mother died of brain cancer. And speaking of which, the most evil thing that Ego has done is that he killed his mom.
Yeah, gives her a tumor. It's kind of cool that they sort of slowly kind of revealed what Ego was about. He's like, I went to find life, and I found life wasn't all that cool, so I found that I have to take everything over is like my big purpose. I thought that was cool. Kurt Russell did a good job kind of playing likable, but then you could kind of tell he's just kind of unhinged by the end. He's just kind of nuts. Rocket was cool, and all that stuff with what's the blue guy? What's his name?
Yondu.
Yondu.
Really heartfelt stuff. Father figure the whole time.
So I'll say about the flaws in the movie because I think we can get in as much as I did like Yondu. I think you can find flaws in. Basically, to me, every moment
the funeral
that they used.
Nice.
Okay,
that's it. Go ahead.
every dramatic moment in the movie I thought was just, it just felt like it just was entirely a character would sit down and say, and this is my backstory, blah, 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 this is my sad story.
Nebula.
Nebula was the worst example of it, where she literally was talking to the one crew member, and even him, after hearing her, like, hugely, like, defined backstory, was just like, well, like, he was like, why are you saying this to me? Which kind of makes me figure, James Gunn, I think if you maybe worked on this a little harder, you maybe tried to find better ways to fit in the more dramatic scenes. I felt like this movie would be like very jokey with the scenes that would try to be funny, and then it would just, almost on a dime, it would flip to someone's kind of dramatic monologue about the past.
Yeah, I'd say in the first movie, like when those dramatic stuff kind of came in, like Rocket being like torn, like there'd be a big like kind of joke or like conversation just building up to it, and it would grow and grow. Or, like the argument would build, and then finally that person would get mad and rip like that big personal story. Like in like the one scene when Drax and Rocket are drinking, and he finally goes off and says, "I'm asked to get like torn apart and put back." So there was a lot leading to that instead of him just starting saying, "I'm sad because I was like built in a lab."
Yeah, in that scene, like it didn't feel like Rocket was just spelling out what he's feeling and feeling. It just feels more like somebody who's just going through a ton of pain. Whereas in this film, every scene with Nebula is basically just,
I mean, the monologues were good. It's just they kind of were forced.
They were just really forced.
Every scene with her was a good example of just kind of forcing all the drama there.
Yeah, but I'll say there are two things that I will say that I think that this film did better than the first. To me, in my opinion, the first obviously is the villain Ego, because Ronan.
That one
I don't think Rowan's like a bad villain. He's a fine antagonist, and I didn't mind so much because like the film was more so about the team rather than just good versus evil, like many of the Marvel films. So it didn't bother me that much. Ego, on the other hand, to me works as a much better evil counterpart to Peter, mostly because Kurt Russell plays him as really jokey and likable, but he's also unhinged, self-centered, and at times despicable.
He was like kind of brainwashing Peter, and then the second he says that's why I had to kill your mom, he just snaps at him. He just starts shooting. It's like in Force Awakens when Chewie sees Han die and just starts shooting people. That was his reaction. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Going back to like what I was saying about Ego.
Yes.
Hey, I like Force Awakens.
I don't want to get sick.
So anyway,
can we go back to me talking about Ego? Yeah, for me, it's just unlike Ego, unlike a lot of the MCU villains, Ego actually to me felt legitimately evil and threatening, because like you learn that he's been dying. Is that you going back to what I was saying, because you learn that like he's been sending kids who he's been making across the galaxy and having them just killed because he doesn't see them as powerful and just throws them away. And I know that Mitchell kind of criticized why exactly did he decide to give his mom a tumor. Yeah. For me, the impression I got was basically the fact that Ego legitimately loved Peter's mom,
which is kind of like
so he decided to. And I felt like the big reason why was mostly because he was so obsessed with wanting to expand himself, wanting to be the center of attention, was that he let his own self, was that he decided to completely remove all empathy towards anyone, including his own wife.
Yeah, I get that. I don't have a problem with the plot that happens. I have a problem with that entire reveal, all of that happens. One scene starts with Kurt Russell's character still being a good guy, and then through one monologue, again, just this kind of monologues on monologues in this movie, where Kurt Russell just explains, hey, I want you to kind of be a part of my big planet building thing.
We don't just start off saying, hey, let's go kill everyone.
And then it's like, because we want to kill everybody, and I killed your mom. Like, it was just in one, like, there was no kind of build up. It was just, hey, blah, 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 I'm a bad guy now, and I killed your mom. So it was I don't know. I don't really like the way this movie handled
when they're
drama,
fighting
like,
and like he just like builds to a Pac-Man and shit
Yeah,
like that. That was
funny.
cool.
That
Or
was
like
great.
when he's learning, like I like how he's like learning about his powers. Like he plays ball with his dad by making the energy, or he goes, he's like, I'm gonna make some freaky shit, and make Pac-Man and everything. It was so funny.
Because the although I really didn't care that much, the plot was basically the same cut and paste plot from every Marvel movie, but the tone and the way that it dealt with
visually
it
was cool
was
too.
way better than
way
some
more
of these other movies.
It's definitely
so
a lot more
fun.
imaginative, in my opinion, than say Doctor Strange or Ant-Man.
Yeah, it was definitely better than those two movies.
I'd say in terms of like the humor, it was all really funny. It had its own tone. It was raunchy, but like there was a lot of heartfelt stuff and like with like Yondu's funeral or other things like that. And even like the monologues, I thought most of them were pretty well done. They were just like there wasn't conversations leading up to them, and it was kind of. Like, the plot was choppy, but even, like, though the comedy was really funny, you had, each character had a good amount of stuff that, like, actually really made you laugh. Even some of the new ones who I was worried about.
Yeah.
It was never, like, the first time we saw Guardians in the theater, the entire theater was just dying for, like, the entire movie. Like, I was just, like laughing the entire time. And this one, there was a lot of that, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't like everyone was dying laughing for the entirety of the movie.
One thing I would say about, like, I feel like Ego is just a much more compelling antagonist than the villain in the first one. And the other thing I will say, in my opinion, I like more in this film than I did in the first film was Yondu. Because I liked Yondu in the first film. In this film, I felt like Yondu goes through like a big character arc. For me, the best moments of drama for me were with Yondu. Like how a lot of his, like how like, it's most because how like he's kind of been like, kind of been somebody who's basically kind of been, betrayed, who's kind of like, disregarded from his gang of Ravagers because he's starting to grow more empathy towards Star-Lord and the Guardians and to me like this final scene where he basically like
throw them all out on the thing that looked crazy, like people just getting choked out.
And another thing I wanted to say it's just most because with Yondu he gets to interact a lot more. He partakes probably my favorite gag of the film when they're being trapped inside the Raider ship because they took over and started mutiny, and like so to escape they have Baby Groot go to grab Key, but Groot just keeps grabbing all the wrong stuff, including a human toe.
Oh yeah, you just have a jar. So it's like no.
This movie was actually I'd say a lot of fun. As much it was far more enjoyable than I think my score is going to reflect. If we can get into our kind of fire.
One last thing I wanted to talk about:
gold people sucked, but
the gold people sucked, but they don't matter. But let's talk about for me definitely the emotional highlight of the film.
Yondu's death.
Yeah, because
he gone.
It looked like I know like a lot of really cool visual stuff, like when people are falling and all that, and that just like the lights.
It was
what do you think of Yondu's death?
I think it was good because I think it was. You could argue it's just because people have literally been like kill somebody. They killed them and they made like a whole scene out of him being dead, which is good, and also kind of just like okay, fine, we get it, we'll kill somebody off. So it does feel slightly pandering just because it's something that people are like, oh, do this, so they finally do it. But I think they did it in a way that was
and I thought
that was touching.
Yeah,
and it gave Yondu some more.
And,
and
also it kind of adds thematically to the theme of the film of like fatherhood because Ego essentially kind of sees himself as his father, but in reality really couldn't care less about him.
That's what made it sad. Is like when Peter finally figured that out, that Yondu was
and
really,
father and son is playing in the background.
Dad, stop interrupting me.
You started off by interrupting him.
He interrupted me like 3 times.
Yeah, but
finally
he was talking and you just interrupted him.
Because he kept interrupting me.
As he was talking, and then you interrupted him.
I don't care. You kept interrupting me, Nick. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, yeah,
Yondu turned out to be... And it's sad because it wasn't like the full potential. Is effectively what I'm trying to say is Yondu was his dad, but he never got to, when Peter realized it was because
it was definitely pretty sad and emotional.
Yeah, I think, okay, so ratings time. I think, as much as I enjoyed it, I have to be, honest with myself, and as much as I liked the tone, I thought the action in this movie was more indicative of the kind of Guardians-type humor than I think in the first movie. I think the first movie, the action was kind of separate and just okay. So I liked that better, but ultimately the plot wasn't great, and I didn't like how the drama... I didn't have a necessary problem with what the events that took place. I just didn't like how they were just kind of just given to you, and everything that happened was said in some kind of thought-out speech that all these characters seem to almost have prepared. And but it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10, but if I had to rate it on enjoyment, it'd be like an 8 out of 10. But if I have to be honest and think about it, it's a 6. So I know I give Doctor Strange a 7, but if I could go back, I'd give Doctor Strange like a 5. I don't know.
Doctor Strange's like a 7.
This is a movie.
Every
I will
Marvel
watch this
movie except for like a
again
5
and
or
enjoy
6 of them are all 7s. Like Doctor Strange, the Thor movies, the Iron Man sequels, Captain America one, they're all 7s.
So ultimately, this movie wasn't. I'll finish up really quickly. Oh, it wasn't great, but I did enjoy it a lot, even if it wasn't bad. Enjoy it.
All right, so I'd like to say, like, partly because of this movie now, like, I think I'd rather just watch the Guardians movies than watch any of the other strand of Marvel movies, even the 2 Avengers ones, just because I love their tone and they're different. They have heart, and I think this movie worked out in a lot of heart, a lot of humor. The characters were all great. There was some choppy narrative and some kind of choppy where they just kind of threw monologues in, and the gold people obviously sucked.
Wait, no, I want to give it a 7.
Okay,
No,
it's a 7.
Do I don't know. It's a 6 or 7. I don't know. It doesn't
Ratings
matter.
don't matter.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it an 8.
like
It was really enjoyable, despite the flaws. Above average for most like Marvel movies, as I already said. So yeah, a lot of fun. It's an 8. Nick?
Yeah, so despite my flaws, I did really enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I thought the characters were still excellent. I thought the humor was fantastic. I thought it still added a lot of the heart and soul of made Guardians great. I thought like the way they handled Yondu's death was surprisingly sad, and probably one of the few times Marvel actually killed someone and have them stay dead.
Literally the only time.
And I really liked how they made the villain and gave the villain an actual presence, and I do think it did further the story rather than just play retread. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy, we all liked it. Give this a watch if you like it. If you're into Guardians 1, you'll enjoy it too. If you thought Guardians 1 was just okay, you probably won't be a big fan of this one. So yeah, we've been gone for a while. We haven't done one of these in some time.
We'll do Get Out next.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, because this month, Logan and Get Out are going to be released on Blu-ray, and I'm planning on getting Get Out on Blu-ray, and once we do that, me, Brock, and Mitchell are going to review what may consider to be one of the best films of the year. So let's see if Get Out lives up to the hype.
Yeah, it's pretty great.